There are people out there who are adamant and maintain that Steve Kerr is a great head coach, that because he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday, that he deserves the grace and the freedom from critique, that he deserves the benefit of the doubt. If he's such a great coach, why has it been 5 years now where he cannot beat and overcome the LA Lakers? More specifically, LeBron James's LA Lakers. 5 years. When people bring up 2022, the Warriors didn't have to play the Lakers in that season's postseason. Sorry for the redundancy. My point is, if he's such a genius, why can't he figure that team out? The Warriors aren't doing jack shit this year unless they make the necessary personnel moves to beat the LA Lakers. Until that happens, this season's a pipe dream. Tonight was embarrassing. A lot of these games are embarrassing. Tonight looked good for a while. But when you look at who started and when you look at who closed, those players represent who Steve Kerr trusts the most. Who Steve Kerr trusts on this Warriors team does not represent who are the best players on this Warriors team. And when you have a scenario like that, you have a coaching problem. I'm going to get into what I mean in exquisite detail because that's what I like to do here. I don't like to just espouse opinions. I like to reinforce it with some goddamn objectivity. And I'm going to explain what I mean. That was frustrating. If you're frustrated, I get it. So let's enjoy the misery together because misery does love company. Happy Saturday night, everyone. That sucked. Let's commiserate together. It's the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Goddamn hobbit ball. Who in their right mind can win in battle? Sure. Welcome to the Golden Days. I'm your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild. On Twitter, my handle is Surf Journalist. And over on Blue Sky, I will be active at some point on there just because there are enough people to make that place relevant. The handle there is at Golden Days. The program is on Threads and Twitter at Golden Days Pod. Before we get into the nitty gritty, I know the chat's fired up. I imagine Dub Nation is pissed and frustrated about that one, especially when you consider the fact that the Warriors were fighting. They stayed alive. They were in this game until damn near the end. And then in the fourth quarter, Anthony Davis remembered, oh yeah, I'm playing against a bunch of little people. I'm playing against folks that should be in reality playing against fifth graders. I get to play against these guys. I can do whatever I want on that basketball court. I will do whatever I want on that basketball court. I'm going to own this damn team like I have been since I've come to the LA Lakers. And here we are. First and foremost, though, we got sponsors supporting this program. We got to give them some love. And first up on the agenda is Underdog Fantasy, who is an awesome sponsor. I won money tonight, folks. And look, it wasn't a lot of money. I would have won, I kid you not, I would have won thousands of dollars tonight if Gary Payton II did not hit those three-pointers in the first quarter, and if Dennis Schroeder didn't decide to show up and play basketball for a whole half. I'll get into what I mean by that. The point is, despite that, I had a 8 selection card for the Warriors and Lakers game tonight. I nailed 6 out of 8. The only 2 I didn't hit was Gary Payton II. I picked the under on three-pointers made. That son of a bitch hit two of them, right? And I think they were both in the first quarter. GP2 finished with 12 points in this game, was 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. Of course, the one night where he actually shows up for a little while. I wish he had a whole complete game instead of just a nice appearance in the first half. and then Dennis Schroeder played basketball for a half. I bet the under, or I bet the lower, I apologize, for Dennis Schroeder, who finished the game tonight off the bench in 21 minutes with 10 points. I think the higher lower figure was a 9.5. Despite that, that's the beauty of what's called a flex selection with Underdog Fantasy. All you have to do with a flex selection, in that case, for example, I made 8 picks total. If you just get 6 out of 8, you'll win a little cash. You'll get some scratch back. If you get 7 out of 8, you're a winner. 8 out of 8, like my situation, I would have won thousands of dollars. I could have stomached this a little easier if the Warriors had won this game. Not in a loss, but regardless. And that's not the only card I won, by the way. I won 2 cards tonight. I also had a 7-pick card with other NBA action, and I'll share with you what I did there. And this is what Underdog Fantasy is all about. You can make a bet for, let's say, $5, that low. And if you place $5 and do, let's say, a 7-pick card, like I, for example, decided that OG Anunoby was going to go higher on a combined 6.5 rebounds and assists. He got 7. Check. Karl Anthony Towns, I thought he'd score higher than 25.5 points. He scored less than that with 18. But again, you don't have to get all 7 to be a winner. Ben Simmons didn't even play. I bet the lower amount there of 7.5 points. I thought Zaire Williams of the Brooklyn Nets was going to get lower than 19.5 points and rebounds and assists combined. He finished with 7 points and had no rebounds or assists. Tyler Hero scored more than 20.5. He had 23. My point, dude, it's legal in California, okay? So while us folks here in the home of the Golden State Warriors wait for the FanDuels and the BetOnline to become legal here, we don't have to wait for Underdog to become legal. Daily Fantasy is alive and running here in California. And all you have to do, folks, is download the app, use the promo code GSW for a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy. It's a damn good time. Go check it out. Today's episode also brought to you by Dr. Tom Rosanelli, the hair restoration specialist. Mention Rick Barry for $500 off. Call 415-931-9881 or visit rosanelli.com. Again, 415-931-9881 or visit rosanelli.com. I forgot to do this for tonight's show, but I'm going to start showing a picture with every ensuing ad read for Dr. Tom Rosanelli with a before and after photo of LeBron James. That's the worst kept secret in the world. That LeBron James, if he did not have hair restoration procedures, would be bald. However, he looks good. And Dr. Tom Rosanelli is even better than the surgeons who took care of LeBron and all these hoity-toity looks you see in Hollywood. Dude, Dr. Tom Rosanelli is at that level of elite care. Gentlemen, look good, feel good. Call 415-931-9881 or visit rosanelli.com. Get your treatment today. And last but not least, BetOnline, who continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. You could have bet on the Lakers and you would have won. If you had bet on the Warriors tonight, you would not have won. They did not cover. But the good news is you have that option with BetOnline. And don't forget, tomorrow, AFC and NFC championship games. Have fun. BetOnline. The game starts here. What was not fun, though, at all, in no way, shape, or form, was the Golden State Warriors, who, again, for a half of basketball, even 3/4 of a game of basketball, looked very much in it. They unfortunately fell tonight, 118-108 the final. Things slipped away from them in the fourth quarter. Again, the Warriors trailed by just 1 at the end of the first, 27-26. They trailed by just 1 at the half, 52-51, right? Hold on. No, that was not the right score. The score at the half was 59-58. I apologize for that. And then the Warriors got outscored by 5 in the third quarter. They got outscored by 4 in the fourth quarter, and they lose this game by 10. Stephen Curry is going to get a lot of attention from this game. And a huge reason for that is because, sorry about that, let me get Dr. Rosanelli's graphic out of there, because of the fact that he had a great first half. Stephen Curry started this game hot. In fact, in the first half of this game, and maybe even the first quarter, let's start there. Steph played 8 minutes, 55 seconds. He was 2 of 5 from deep, 3 of 8 from the field. He had an 8-point opening quarter, added 2 assists. And he kept rolling. Everything looked fine from Stephen Curry in the first half of this game, where, again, the Warriors were tied with the Lakers. Or I'm sorry, they were trailing by 1, 59-58. Steph at the half had 13 points. He had 5 assists and a rebound. And it looked like it was going to be an awesome scoring duel. It looked like Steph was going to light it up. And then Ryan Leong, who's going to join us in a little bit live from Chase Center of NBC News Radio and of Bay Area Sports Wrap, which I believe is going to be dual streaming these broadcasts as well. So welcome to that audience. Anyways, the second half, Ryan Leong texts me and he's like, dude, have you looked at Stephen Curry's numbers? And I'm like, I know he's not doing well. And then I looked up Steph's second half numbers and they were abysmal. Just to give you some, to paint the full picture with the actual numbers, Stephen Curry in the second half played 15 minutes, 40 seconds. He was a team worst -17 in net rating. That's not the norm for Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players in NBA history, among many reasons. His net rating statistics over his career are astoundingly good. One of the best ever. But tonight, and even this season, I haven't looked at his net rating individually recently, but I know it's even that, I think it was like a plus 120 or some absurd number like that. Stephen Curry still plays winning basketball. In the second half of tonight, not the case. Again, -17, 0 of 8 from the field, 0 of 4 from deep, not a single trip to the free throw line. Did have 4 assists, but he did also get called for 2 fouls and also had 2 turnovers. So again, Stephen Curry in the second half. Please tell me I'm not muted. Okay, good. Stephen Curry in the second half. One more time. Just to tell you just how quickly this spiraled for him in 24 minutes of basketball. 0 of 8 from the field. 0 of 4 from 3. Stephen Curry in the second half of this game, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. Now, the why of that could be one of many things. He could have been tired because he's one of the only guys on this team scoring or doing anything. Maybe he's feeding into the increasingly growing narrative that Stephen Curry is aging right before our eyes. It's no secret that he's got 2 sore knees that he's constantly battling. Or maybe the most realistic answer is he has no goddamn help on this team. Besides Stephen Curry not showing up in the second half at all, you have, I'm looking at the box score right now. Dennis Schroeder, who did have a good first half. In the second half, 0 points. Guy Santos, and we're going to talk about him a lot, had 0 second half points, not so much because he wasn't playing good basketball, but because he only played 5 minutes, 58 seconds in the second half. The why of that? We'll try to answer that, but Steve Kerr's gut is the only logical solution there. Why Guy Santos was not playing heavy minutes in the second half is beyond me. This has been a problem for years. The quick answer is Steve Kerr has tremendous trust issues with young players who are not named Brandon Pajemski. Now, Quentin Post was getting some minutes out there tonight. Quentin Post in the second half played 3 times the minutes Guy Santos did. 15 minutes, 21 seconds for Quentin Post in the second half. But you look at the rest of the spectrum. Trace Jackson-Davis scored 0 points in the second half. GP2, who did have a good overall game, especially the first half of this game, where he scored 8 points. He made 2 3-pointers. He only had 4 points in the second half. Kevon Looney had 0 points in the second half. The support is just not there. And yet again, another day has gone by. The trade deadline is approaching quickly here. The deadline is February 6th. We're now, the date of this recording is January 25th. We have 12 days. And realistically, by the time you're watching this, if you're not part of the live audience, 11 days. 11 days to make a move. This man needs help. And the biggest obstacle is that obtuse dunce, Steve Kerr, who's so damn picky. I once upon a time used to praise this team because of a very important variable called chemistry, right? You want your teammates to like each other. You want the vibe in that locker room to be positive. And Steve Kerr was a part of that. And it used to be commendable. But at this point, when you have a massive absence, a massive void, a chasm of talent on this team, you need to stop being picky about your personnel decisions in terms of chemistry, because GP2 should not still be on this team, considering he's making $8 million and he has an expiring contract. That has value in the NBA this season, not next season when there are going to be teams tanking for an incredibly deep draft. This season, that contract has value because you can flip that to a team that wants to tank and bring someone back who can actually shoot or who can actually be a rim protector instead of a player who once every 10 games actually makes three-pointers and then reverts back to the 20% shooter that he is on the season from deep. Kevon Looney, another one of Steve Kerr's faves, should not be on this team. Same story, $8 million, expiring contract, has value. Why is he still on this roster? That makes no sense. Dennis Schroeder, $13 million that he's making, expiring contract. No good reason for him to be on this team, especially with Brandon Podziemski healthy again. There is no excuse for those three players to be on this Warriors team, especially when the trade deadline is 11 days away and you're routinely putting out a product that does that, lays big, fat, stinking eggs, who cannot defeat teams that are bigger, who is owned by the Los Angeles Lakers. Owned. Steve Kerr has never beaten this team outside of a few random regular season games. They lost in a play-in game, not once, but twice. They got their asses kicked in a 7-game series when the Warriors were the defending world champions. This is a Steve Kerr production. And it does beg questioning in terms of tonight's second half, why Quentin Post got 3 times the minutes that Guy Santos did. 1 minute, height doesn't matter. Next minute, Steve Kerr has another favorite. It's asinine, man. It is, what's going on here is ridiculous. It is the most nonsensical bullshit I have seen in the NBA, maybe ever. Incompetency on other teams is pretty cut and dry. It's pretty black and white. You have coaches that just don't get it, right? And you see the result transpire as a result of that. Monty Williams of the Pistons last year, a perfect example of that. The great news for the Pistons is they cut loose. They moved on. With the Warriors, with all these nonsensical, asinine decisions, they just keep pretending like everything's fine. Everything is not fine. This house is burning. And again, when you look at who starts a game, and maybe more importantly, who closes a game, that's when you know who the coach has the most trust in. And we saw another game where Andrew Wiggins was starting at the 4. We saw another game where Buddy Hield is starting and playing meaningful minutes at the close when that dude should not be touching a basketball court with his sneakers. Should not. His ass should be touching the seats on the side of the court. His shoes should not be on that court except for warmups. And that's it. It is ridiculous. And Buddy Hield tonight, he played 21 minutes, 15 seconds. Guy Santos, in comparison, played 19 minutes, 45 seconds. But Buddy Hield has Steve Kerr's trust. Guy Santos does not have Steve Kerr's trust. Now, what goes into Steve Kerr's trust? His intuition and his gut, which has routinely failed, except when he has teams that are so damn stacked or are crafted perfectly by a front office exec. We are seeing in front of our eyes what incompetency does at the head coaching level. It plays the wrong players, it routinely makes the wrong calls, and it routinely loses games that are winnable. The Warriors are now 1 game below 500, folks, and we're past the midway point. They have a nearly identical record to what they had a year ago, but let's pretend the coaching situation is not the problem, because on every other show, that's exactly what you're going to hear. I mean, the legacy platforms are embarrassing. And whether we're talking about radio, TV, news organizations that were once newspapers, you know, referring to like the Chronicles and the Mercs of the world, None of them are pointing a finger at what is obviously the problem here. And then you have all these fan programs and YouTube shows and podcasts, the ones that emerged over the last 10 years, hosted by a bunch of people that, again, they're fans. Fine. You love your team. That's great. And I will never understand why they have audiences, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't have decades of schooling in journalism or insider experience being behind the scenes with this team for decades, seeing what goes on in terms of the machinery and the operations. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And you know what? When I ask around in terms of what these other shows are saying, outside of that one dude on Twitter, what's his name? Jim Park, there's no one else who's pointing the finger at what is obviously the issue here. Steve effing Kerr. It's embarrassing, man. And the grace that he has earned expired years ago. This is an insane issue when it comes to the head coach. That is the problem. It's not complicated. The Warriors have a very serious problem. It's the head coach, and they pretend that that's not a problem. It's insanity. It's maddening. It's absolutely revolting to just watch this on repeat over and over and over again. Isn't that what the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result? How is this not insanity? Small ball doesn't work. The players Steve Kerr trusts are not good, and yet no one's saying anything about it except for this program. It's insane. The only reason the Warriors were even in this game at the beginning is because in the first quarter of tonight's action, with that anemic small ball lineup, again, where Andrew Wiggins is your starting power forward, which makes no goddamn sense, where GP2 is your starting 2 or 3, whatever position you want to put him at all of 6'2". So in the first quarter, the only reason why the Warriors were in this game is because Gary Payton II drained his first 2 threes, and Stephen Curry was hot. The team was making their outside shots. A huge problem with that is GP2 doesn't normally make his three-point shots. GP2 normally, again, a 20% three-point shooter. But he kept him in the game tonight because he miraculously hit those threes, which, side note, cost me $1,000. More than that. But again, that has nothing to do with the analysis. But again, on Underdog Fantasy, him and Dennis Schroeder literally were the difference between me winning like $5 and over $1,000. I'm a little jaded about that. But again, the point is GP2 should not be out there to start games and to close games. You can survive 10 minutes in the middle, maybe. GP2 on the season, entering tonight's game, is 3-point percentage 20. He doesn't normally start games 2 for 2 from 3. That's the only reason. And Wiggins had a good first half, and then you know, Andrew Wiggins tonight, just to read his stat line, because he was one of the only guys doing anything out there except for the 3-point shot. He was 1 of 6 from 3, but at least he was playing defense. At least he brings size to the table. At least he's getting to the free throw line, although tonight he had 1 free throw attempt. The Warriors collectively had 16 free throw attempts. A little surprising that in this Warriors-Lakers affair, the referees did not interject themselves, playing a role in this. The Lakers only had 1 free throw attempt more than the Golden State Warriors tonight. The Warriors 10 of 16 from the free throw line. Trace Jackson Davis continuing to struggle from the charity stripe. He was 0 of 2 in his 1 trip to the free throw line. Moses Moody missed a free throw. Guy Santos missed a free throw. Stephen Curry, the greatest free throw shooter ever, literally missed a free throw. He was 3 of 4. The Warriors were 10 of 16 from the free throw line. You make those free throws, a 10-point loss is now a 4-point loss. The Lakers, meanwhile, had just 1 more free throw attempt than the Warriors, but they were 14 of 17. They made 82.4% of their free throws. The Warriors made 62.5% of their free throws. Anthony Davis, again, notorious for eating the Warriors up alive. 10 of 12 from the free throw line. He was getting there like it was not an issue at all. 11 days. That's how much time the Warriors have to make a deal. Do people watching this game tonight now understand why, when the Warriors made that trade with the Brooklyn Nets, I was frustrated that they traded for Dennis Schroeder and not Dorian Finney-Smith? Do you realize how much better this Warriors team would be if they had a guy 6'7" who can defend the perimeter, who can hit 40% of his threes and play a role of whatever the coach wants? But no, we go with Kerr's favorite, Dennis Schroeder. I hope you heard what Mike Breen said on that broadcast tonight. Steve Kerr likes this guy. Yeah, no shit, because Steve Kerr doesn't know a thing when it comes to personnel. Great schemes, great system, massive failure when it comes to evaluating and judging personnel. He's never proven that he's good at that. Some other stats tonight. I'm going to post the link for the chat if anyone wants to join me. It's just getting old. It's just getting really old, man. I can't be the only one who's this pissed off about what's happening here. I can't be. All right. There are enough smart people. There are enough intelligent people in this world to see what I'm seeing here, which is just an abysmal product full of irrational, illogical decision-making and pretending that history justifies this, meaning the 4 championships. That is absurd, man. Where is the accountability for 5 going on 6 years of ineptitude? I haven't seen Derek Simmons in a while, man. Nice reprieve here. I'll wait for him to turn his camera on. I don't know if you're there or not. Eric, are you there? Are you just joining us on audio tonight?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It says my connection's not good enough for a camera. I don't know why.
We can hear you. That's good enough, man. Floor is yours. How's it going, brother? Speak.
It's doing good. Yeah, it's doing good. So I saw the game a little bit differently tonight. I saw a game that was competitive for the first 3 quarters, but the refs kept cheating for the LA Lakers. I saw a soft foul that was against Quentin Post when AD, I think he did like some type of finger roll, and AD is going into you. And it's like, I don't know. It was another foul where I believe, who was it? It was, who's that tall, light-skinned kid, the center for the Lakers?
Oh, Jackson Hayes?
Jackson Hayes, he caught the ball, and somebody was behind him, and then he falls to the ground. They just call a foul out of nowhere. And it's just like, I don't know. I was getting so frustrated, and I saw the look of Steph Curry, and I think that he was getting frustrated at the fouls, and I think that he's fed up. And I think that's why he was out of the game for the most part for the second half, because it's like, yo, I'm all scratched up. You can see he's bleeding from his arms, and they're barely calling any fouls. But then when the Lakers crying ass LeBron James, they're going to make sure that they call everything for them.
LeBron, by the way, 25 points, 12 assists on this game, added 5 rebounds, but he only had 1 trip to the free throw line. That's not the norm for LeBron James, but Anthony Davis was getting the treatment. You know, you bring up Quentin Post, who I am grateful we saw him play. I don't know if you folks watched the ABC broadcast. That might have been the only choice, but during halftime, Bob Myers was part of the panel, and Stephen A. Smith called Bob out for Quentin Post because Myers was advocating for Post, saying this kid can play. And at the end of the first half, Quentin Post laid a donut in terms of scoring. Not to say that it was a bad first half, but he had 0 points. He only had 1 3-point attempt. He only had 2 field goal attempts total, but he was a plus 2 in net rating. So at least it wasn't a drain on the team while he was playing minutes out there. And then in the second half, he erupted. And when I say erupt by his standards, but he actually started contributing. Shots started to fall. Quentin Post in the second half of this game, everything scoring-wise will reflect his totals on the night. 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, 3 of 5 from the field in the second half, finished with 8 points, added 2 rebounds. One thing I saw, though, it wasn't the 3-point shooting, which I love. I mean, obviously that makes a massive difference for this team, and I do hope we see a lot more of Quentin Post moving forward. I don't understand the discriminatory approach towards Guy Santos. I don't know why Guy Santos can't earn the same trust from Steve Kerr, considering that over the last 2 games before tonight, he was 9 of 11 from 3. So, but the whole reason I bring this up is because Quentin Post, you bring up him defending Anthony Davis, and that's not an easy task for anyone to do. But there was one play in this game where all Quentin Post did, Derek, was have his hands up and have his arms up, and he blocked a shot. He didn't do anything, but the ball just ricocheted off him. And the point is, size does things like that. Size matters. Quentin Post just being a 7-footer caused the turnover, not because of his athleticism, not because of his aptitude or his intelligence. It was because he just had his arms up and because he's 7 feet. And that's what size at a bare minimum adds as a benefit. This small ball crap is absurd, dude. I'm sorry to interrupt me. Go ahead, Derek.
No, I mean, you made a great point. I saw a difference within the team since the Kings game when they was playing Santos and Guy a lot more. And I wasn't too upset about the Kings loss because I saw a difference in the competitiveness of the team. And then we won against the Bulls. And then tonight we were competitive. It's just that the refs keep intervening when it comes to these Lakers games. And it's an agenda. You want to ensure that, especially because I think that the games that we won against the Lakers, it hasn't been internationally televised. Like it's not on big television. And the ones that we lose is always on big television because the refs make sure that, hey, we got to make sure that LeBron looks better than Steph Curry. And it always takes Steph Curry to do something miraculous for us to stay in the games.
Derek, I got other folks that want to jump on. Manny here next, and then Curtis Aldretti. But look, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you wholeheartedly in the big picture, which is that the NBA does have a very clear pro-LeBron agenda, and I interpret it at times as simultaneously it being an anti-Steph agenda, whether it comes down to the shoe deals. I mean, look, when you look at corruption, when you look at pretty much any agenda that happens lacking transparency, it's usually a financial agenda, right? Money corrupts. And when you look at Nike and you look at Under Armour and their contributions to the NBA, the financial connections with those two brands, there is a case to be made there. But tonight, I don't know if I didn't see the officials making a difference, man. I mean, like, I guess what I'm trying to say here, Derek, and Manny, you're up next. If the officials actually called a fair game, do you really think this would have been different? Like the Warriors would have won?
No, you didn't play the big guys enough. You gotta play bigger, longer, especially against the Lakers. And I understand that the team is down, so you may have to. But I think that at one point we saw Dennis Schroeder, we saw GP2, Moses Moody, and Brandon Bajewski all in the same court together. That's a formula for disaster.
It is, man. And the Potts minutes are not burning him. Podziemski, look, he fixed his shot, whatever was going on there. He started hitting him before he got hurt. He's come back. He's hitting him again. Brandon Podziemski in the game tonight played 24 minutes, 19 seconds. He was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. That's 50%. 6 of 10 from the field total. He had 17 points in this game. Tonight was not Podziemski's fault, man. He led the team in net rating with a +9. But like you said, Derek, I don't see the wisdom in having him out there with Steph and with Dennis Schroeder. Like that's not going to be teams. That is not going to win you basketball games. I don't understand having Podziemski and Schroeder out there together. Why do both of them have to share the court, man? I get the logic of 2 point guards with Steph at this point of his career where he's asking for help, that his body's breaking down. He wants someone to help with the workload of ball handling. When Steph is off the court, why the F are we still seeing 2 point guards out there, especially when both those point guards are not known for scoring? That's not what they're known for. Dennis Schroeder has never been known as a scorer. This season, he's putting up 18 and change with Brooklyn, a career high, but he was also playing 36 minutes. He comes to the Warriors and everything just completely spirals. But again, that's not who he is. He's not a scorer. Brandon Podziemski has not established himself as being a scorer. So why the hell do you have 2 guards out there, neither of which are known for scoring, and only one of them is known for defense? It's mind-boggling. It's frustrating. I don't get the Guy Santos discrimination. Again, Guy Santos tonight, he's been one of the only good things for this team over the past 3 weeks, and Santos tonight played less than 20 minutes, 19 minutes, 48 seconds on a night when you needed his size and his physicality against this Lakers team. Why the hell did he only play 19 minutes, 48 seconds? And I hope someone asked Steve Kerr in the postgame presser, and even though the question is futile, because the answer is going to be, well, matchups, and I just felt that it wasn't right. Like that, because that's what Steve Kerr says. He gives you these BS answers that comes down to how he feels about things, and feelings are not logical. So you can't really have a good back and forth discourse at that point. It's maddening what's going on here, man. Any final thoughts, Derek? And Manny, you're up next.
And you saw the defense break down in the calls of that, especially when we got into a zone, because that forced Santos off of AD. And then now AD has like two small people on him. He's virtually wide open out there. So, yeah, I mean, you have a point. Even if the refs didn't do certain calls that I didn't agree with, we would have more than likely still lose tonight. So, yeah, you're right, Cyrus.
I get your point. I do. Like most nights that rings true. It's just, I didn't see it tonight. Tonight, the Warriors look, they were, you're like you said, I agree. They were competitive. It was a 1-point game at the half. They trailed by just, I believe, 6 at the end of the third quarter. But I just didn't see the officiating making the difference. When you're seeing Buddy Hield and Dennis Schroeder getting big fourth quarter minutes in the fourth quarter tonight, for example, in terms of who finished this game and played those important minutes in the fourth quarter. Here, I have the box score in front of me right here. So Wiggins played 10 minutes, 17 seconds. You get that. It's unfortunate he was only 1 of 6 from deep. You could have hit, the Warriors could have desperately used more outside shooting from him. But then you look at Buddy Hield, played 4 minutes, 58 seconds in the fourth quarter. Why? He justified it a little bit because he scored 7 points. But, dude, Buddy Hield is a drain. He's a black hole on this team at this point. Kevon Looney played 3 minutes, 8 seconds. Why? Brandon Pajemski played 8 minutes, 6 seconds. He played 2/3 of the fourth quarter. Clearly, Steve Kerr loves this kid. I don't get it. I like him. I don't like him to the point where you're giving him like the most important minutes of these games on a night-by-night basis. I'm not there with Brandon Pajemski, but I like him. Moses Moody, I defend those minutes. He played 8 minutes, 10 seconds in the fourth quarter. I don't defend Dennis Schroeder playing 6 minutes, 27 seconds in the fourth quarter. Oh, by the way, his stat line in that fourth quarter, zeros across the board, a Tony Snell fourth quarter for Dennis Schroeder, except for 1 turnover, just to add some icing on that cake. So you look at the minutes, man, like Kyle Anderson, why was he DNP'd? He's off the injury report. Like what Steve Kerr he's a schmuck. He's a schmuck. He's an obtuse schmuck. When you think that Dennis Schroeder deserves minutes over Kyle Anderson, over Guy Santos, you are a schmuck. Don't understand who the best players on the court are. You're fine when the team gives you a stacked roster. Again, your system is fine. But when you have to make those tough decisions in terms of personnel, he fails year after year after year. And for some reason, this program is the only one that's calling it out, man. I don't understand it. Derek, I'm going to move on to Manny. Is that all right, brother?
Yeah, that's fine. Good talking with you, Cy.
You too, brother. And I'm sorry that I'm all fired up and kind of negative, but this thing just is pissing me off. It's frustrating me. Manny, welcome, I believe, from the Dominican Republic. Did I get it right this time?
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, that was someone else then. I know who that was.
It was the guy, I think he was in the show the last game from Dominican Republic.
Manny, how is Orlando, Florida treating you, brother? And good to see you.
It's good. It's kind of cold. It was snowing out it was getting close to snowing out here in Tampa. But other than that, it's all good it's all good, man.
Good. So what's on your mind, brother? Floor is yours.
So I was watching the game. I'm not as bummed out for this loss, to be really honest with you. Number one, because it's already expected with the tendencies that our coach has. But the thing that I saw was Quentin Post has 5 games experience in the NBA. He's trying to learn on the fly, offense and defense. He said it himself, these guys shoot better, they're faster, they're stronger. So he needs to get adjusted. Our number one defender, Draymond Green, who is pretty much the one that can actually slow down Anthony Davis, was not on the court playing. So more experience with Quentin Post, especially playing with Draymond at the 4, helping him with his defensive mindset, is definitely going to help next time we match up against the Lakers. Maybe helping him out, slow down Anthony Davis, because he was the one that was pretty much killing us today.
Absolutely. I mean, there were a few players like Austin Reeves was having a great game. He can't Austin Reeves in this game tonight, 16 points on 6 of 10 shooting. Dalton Connect was draining threes left and right. The perimeter defense, look, and again, I post the link in the chat. So, for example, when someone like the revolutionary Ezelbio the Automatic writes, "Bro," in all caps. So I'm gonna reflect the extra urgency and anger behind this. "Bro, we're missing Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga. You're tripping, bro." First of all, come on the show if you want to have a conversation. I post the link for that reason. And B, you're right that they're missing them. What does that have to do with Buddy Hield getting important minutes? What does that have to do with GP2 getting important minutes? What does that have to do with Guy Santos getting screwed over tonight? What does that have to do with Jonathan Kuminga getting screwed over his entire career with the Warriors until December of this last year? Two different subjects entirely. We also don't know if Kuminga and Dre were healthy. We still don't know if they win. For all we know, Steve Kerr benches Kuminga at the end of this game and rolls with Schroeder and Podziemski. That's what Steve Kerr does, man.
Yeah.
He's maddening. Continue on, Manny. I apologize for the interruption there.
No worries. So another thing the only thing that makes sense to me, the reason why he's playing GP2, Looney, and Schroeder, the minutes he's playing them, is to possibly keep some sort of value rather than benching them and start lowering their market value from the bench to if they're going to make a trade. So if they make a trade using these people, I can understand why Steve Kerr is playing these minutes for these players to try to increase their value or interest for another team.
Which players are you referring to?
GP2, Looney, and Schroeder.
Can I tell you why? And again, I don't mean any disrespect saying this, but I'm going to explain to you why that logic does not work. And it's for this reason. Those three players have no value in terms of who they are as players themselves. The only value they have is the expiring contracts and the value that goes with that. Any team that trades for GP2, for example, they're not trading for him because they think he can magically show up and flip the team's fortunes around. The teams that are going to be trading for these guys are Portland, Toronto, Washington, and a few others who are tanking this year, right? None of those teams the Bulls are another one. None of these teams care at all. The Jazz, another one, about whether or not GP2 or Looney can help them next year. They're not even under contract next year. This is why, and again, I'm not trying to be a dick, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
But why I don't buy that premise, and B, why it is stupid. It is foolish to still have these players on your team unless you're just not taking the season seriously and all you care about is making sure that before and after games, the people you're around make you happy and make you comfortable. That's the agenda I see here from Steve Kerr. He just cares about having people around him that he likes. The wins and losses seem secondary. And the fact that that is the priority for your head coach, why is he still the head coach, man? This is the goddamn NBA. This is not the Peace Corps, man. This is not a place where kumbaya is being sung. This is a highly competitive arena, and Steve Kerr is prioritizing chemistry and feelings and comfort over winning basketball, man. It's absurd. So I'm sorry, dude. I hope I wasn't too just
No, you're good. And I do thank you for enlightening, me and the rest of the audience that may have, misunderstood it like I did. That was the only benefit or the only reason why I thought that could possibly be the reason why.
Because you're being logical. Because you're making
other
sense.
Than that, it makes absolutely no sense.
Absolutely no sense. Exactly.
You have these players like Guy Santos who have been the last two games performing. Maybe he shot a three that missed, and boom, that was the reason why Steve Kerr sat him down. And then went to who? To Buddy Hield, who scored. You mentioned the points that he scored, but that was trash time. That was after Curry came out. So when you really think about it, what did he actually provide to the team before trash time? You know what I'm saying?
Nothing.
So exactly. So at the end of the day, I don't understand. You have like you mentioned Guy Santos. I still don't understand why Kyle Anderson is not playing. I understand his speed is slower than everybody else, but sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to slow the game down so we can control the pace of the game.
What was the point of even giving him that contract? Kyle Anderson's making like $9 million a year. What was the point of adding him if you're not going to play him? Look, he's been battling an injury. Like we've talked about this, Manny. Where I don't know what the specifics are. It's some sort of thing with his glute, his butt. I don't know, bursitis, whatever was going on. It's an injury I've never seen in my life with Kyle Anderson. Something was wrong with his ass. To summarize, with that said, he was cleared. He could have played tonight. And why did you add him if you're not going to play him? It's lunacy, dude. I feel like Kyle Anderson was a Joe Lacob / Mike Dunleavy Jr. signing. Like, we got someone with height. We got someone with high IQ. Maybe Steve Kerr will play him. No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's clearly not a Steve Kerr guy. And what's even worse is I don't know if you could trade him. He might have some trade value, but it makes no damn sense why he's just sitting there rotting on the bench. I want to get to Curtis Aldretti, Manny. Any final thoughts as we start to wrap it up?
Last thoughts, because I was
Please.
reading the stuff in the comments. LeBron James is 6'9", who just happens to be the exact same height as our bigs, with the exception of Quinton Post. So when they were talking about aging LeBron versus Curry, completely different. Physical composition is completely different. And then on top of that, what I saw is Steph Curry just shooting up, just shooting, not even really setting up. He has no help. He's desperate. So yeah, he's gonna have zeros. Why? Because yes, he's older. His shot is not the same as it was before. He's still he has the potential to do it, but he's rushing. He's desperate, and he's not really getting the help. So
you're absolutely right, man. And I'm glad you said that, Manny, because I've noticed the exact same thing, which is that Stephen Curry himself has been guilty at times of forcing shots, of not initiating the offense. Like, there are moments in these games lately, especially, I'm seeing it more, where Steph, instead of passing it and initiating the offense, passing it and then doing that lap around the court like we're accustomed to him seeing, where he outruns the defender and he's wide open for that corner three. We're not seeing that as much lately, man. And I don't know if that's Steph frustrated. My guess is it's frustration, and he's trying to just carry the load himself, knowing he has very little help. Buddy Hield, just to add on to your point, started this game 0 of 4 from deep. So whatever he did at the end there, like you said, it was too little too late. And the fact that Steve Kerr just continually gives this guy trust. Why? Like, it makes no damn sense, man.
I saw an interview of Eric Pascal, old Golden State.
We played it on here. Was it here?
Where he said that he didn't like playing because even though if he was open, the mindset was force the shot to Steph Curry no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was good back then. They still have the same mindset right now, but they need to be changing that, because Steph Curry is not the same guy he was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So he needs the help from his teammates. He has people around him. The last game we had 3 or 4 players with 4 3-point shots. So why are we not continuing to move that ball around? We need to stop that whole center around Steph Curry. We can still use his draw in the game to open up a shot for somebody else, but the ball needs to be moving and outside of his hands so that he can also get some rest and not be chucking up shots.
Agreed with all of that. And Manny, I hope tonight maybe make some folks understand better that I love Jonathan Kuminga, and I cannot wait for him to come back. But my whole rhetoric, my arguments have never been about necessarily Kuminga and me believing he's going to be this next superstar. He might, and I do see talent in him. I am advocating for his minutes beyond just thinking he's a good fit. But look, I just want the best players playing, man. And Guy Santos can play, dude. Like, why? It just doesn't make sense that he played less than 20 minutes tonight. It makes virtually no sense that in the fourth quarter, when you're only trailing by 5 or 6, Guy Santos played no minutes.
No, he didn't.
In the fourth quarter.
And he was playing such good defense against LeBron. When LeBron was backing him up, that he went to bump out and he stepped out and LeBron almost tripped over himself. I was like, oh my God, this guy's playing defense very, very smart. And then in the fourth quarter, we don't see him at all. So.
Agreed. And props to the revolutionary Ezelbio, the automatic, incredible handle. Following up the earlier take in regards to Draymond and Kuminga not playing, adding now that Kuminga, in all caps, I apologize, I got to add the emotion. Kuminga is going to go on a tear with Post. I agree. I cannot wait to see that.
I see that happening too, and I'm excited for it.
Same. And there are positives here tonight. You're in the sense that Quinton Post did get a run. Quinton Post could be a real thing. I am very excited about that. I just for whatever reason, Kerr's malfeasance just overtook any positives I took from this game. I guess Quinton Post might be one of the only positives. I guess Brandon Pajemski was a positive. Any other positives, Manny, before we go to Curtis Aldretti?
Lindy Waters barely played.
Manny, have a great night, brother. I hope Orlando's treating you well, man. Take it easy, man. Thank you. Curtis Aldretti, you are on the show. How are you doing? Where in the world are you?
Hey, man, I'm in Vacaville, California. I'm in Solano.
Oh, in the backyard. What's your dispensary, dude? Where do you buy your weed from?
Everywhere.
You don't have a go-to? What's on your mind, brother? Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, I just want to mention a few things. First,
please.
The word of the night is sabotage, right? I feel like Steve Kerr is sabotaging are wins. He plays small ball until it's painfully obvious that it's not working. Oh, okay, maybe I'll throw some size in there, but only for a few minutes, and then I'm going to yank them back out. Timing is everything in basketball, Si. Timing is everything. And
it was just 2 games ago, sorry to interrupt, but it was just 2 games ago where, was it the Kings game where Guy Santos came in early second quarter, is shooting lights out, and then started the third quarter, we don't see him at all, and the Warriors blew like I think a 17-point lead and lost that game because Guy Santos didn't come in until like literally the very end of that quarter. I think it was the Kings game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Exactly, it was, and that's a great example of what he does.
Yeah.
He rewards you for playing well by snatching you out of the game. He did that to Quentin Post. He pulls Quentin Post out of the game. He was actually, his defense hasn't developed yet, but him being there, like you said earlier, his size makes a difference. Just being there with his hands up makes a difference. Yeah. And you could see it. Anthony Davis missed a few shots because Quentin Post was in the way, right?
Yeah.
And I think Draymond Green is going to add a lot of value to Quentin Post because he's going to teach him a lot of little tricks that he does with everybody. I can't wait till he comes back.
Same.
Same. The other thing is I want to agree with Manning about we don't need to run our offense around Steph Curry. It's predictable and it's getting old.
I like it.
Draymond Green is the guiltiest person of feeding Curry too much. Curry waves the ball off sometimes because he doesn't want to take that shot. He's got too many guys hunting him down, and everybody's always deferring to Curry. I've been saying that forever, and they need to just play ball, and Curry will be even more effective if other teams don't see him as the threat that they see now, because other players on the Warriors are beating him. And that is going to open things up for Curry. But instead, we just keep going to him and funneling our whole offense through him and Draymond Green, and it needs to stop, honestly.
No, I agree. And a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with you. They're giving you the credit you deserve, Curtis. You're right. You're absolutely right, man. You're spitting facts. You're speaking wisdom. Bravo, man. It's Saturday night. You own it.
Yeah. And I'm pissed, man. I'm so freaking sick of watching the Warriors get their asses handed to them when it doesn't need to be that way. Mm-hmm. I think this was a winnable game, but maybe not because Steph Curry kind of went cold in the second half, and nobody else was contributing. But bravo!
But again, what if the fact that Guy Santos did not play in the fourth quarter at all? That just blows my mind.
No, right?
Blows my mind, dude. You're right in the sense that Stephen Curry struggled and who knows. But again, the Warriors only trailed, I think, by 5 or 6 to start the fourth. I mean,
6 on the third to start the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they were in it. They were in it, dude. This was a very winnable game. Even without Draymond and Kuminga, this was a winnable game. It is embarrassing that Steve Kerr manhandled the rotations again. It's embarrassing. By the way, Ryan Leong's going to join us in just a second from Chase Center. He's not here yet. But he wanted me to inform the audience that he interviewed LeBron James, and we're going to play that sound clip when he comes on. So there's a little tease for you, even though this is a Warriors program. We're going to get a direct LeBron interview on our show. So that's kind of cool. Curtis, what are you up to on this Saturday night, brother? What's on the agenda?
Man, I'm boring, man. Just watching basketball, chilling out,
Dude, you know what's funny? 20 years ago, I would agree. Like if someone told me, like, I'm just chilling, I'd be like, you are boring. You're lame. Dude, times have changed, man. You're living the life now, dude. You got everything you need at home. Everything. Right?
Yeah. I mean, what do I need to go out for?
Exactly, dude. Exactly. I mean, if you're single, I get it to a certain extent, but yeah, dude. I'm all about the home now, dude. You got everything you need, man. So, I mean, weed's being delivered to you. What could go wrong there?
You don't even have to get up to get the weed anymore.
You don't have to get up, dude. Times have changed, brother. Times have changed.
You used to have to sneak around to go get it, man.
Curtis, you're spitting so many, dude. You're on it so sharp tonight. I want to give this honor to you, dude. Who should be our? I'm gonna give BAS Sports, the sponsorship title tonight. Where is that graphic? So I gotta pull it up. But I want to give you the honor, sir, if you don't mind. Here, they just use that QR code right up there, folks. It's BetAnySports. If you click on that QR code, you will get a 30% welcome bonus on your first deposit. They are a friend of the show. We get a small commission for all the action you do. So again, just point your camera there or go to the YouTube description to find the link. Click on it, sign up. They're a very reputable website, so I hope you join them. The point is, tonight's BetAnySports player of the game, courtesy of Curtis Aldretti, is Are you still with us? Curtis, did I lose you? Oh, I did. Oh, that totally just bombed. Am I still around? Can people hear me? Curtis, I don't know what happened to you, brother. And he's gone. He left. He couldn't handle the heat. Oh, Curtis, you were just rolling there. It's all good, brother. I apologize if the pressure was too much. I will take the helm for the BetAnySports player of the game tonight. I'm going to give that honor to Brandon Pajemski. He had a fantastic night. 6 of 10 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep. He had 1 trip to the free throw line, was a perfect 2 of 2 there. Added 3 rebounds, added 5 assists, added 2 steals. And on top of the 17 points, leading the team in net rating with a +9, he also had 0 turnovers and 0 fouls in his 24 minutes and 19 seconds. So Brandon Pajemski, congratulations. You are our BetAnySports player of the game. And again, folks, all you got to do, if you're interested in a sports book that is highly reviewed, highly reputable, I would not endorse them otherwise. Just click on that QR code or click on the link in our YouTube description, not during the live show, but immediately afterwards. It'll be there. Or click on a description on an older show, and you'll get a 30% welcome bonus. And on that note, the timing is perfect, because we have Ryan Leong joining us live from Chase Center. You can follow Ryan Leong on Twitter at Ryan Leong. It's that simple. Ryan, what was your immediate reaction to the Golden State Warriors losing this one, a game that was very winnable? They trailed by just 6 entering the fourth quarter. They trailed by just 1 at the half, but they ultimately fall 118-108 on a night where I have been eviscerating Steve Kerr for giving Buddy Hield, for giving Dennis Schroeder, GP2, an insane amount of minutes while Guy Santos sat on the bench in the fourth quarter. I thought that was absurd. Your reaction, sir, and great to see you, brother.
Oh, thank you. I would say this was bad if I had to use one word to describe it, especially Steph Curry. You saw that I sent you a text during the game about his 0 for shooting in the second half.
You did? I brought that up.
Yeah, so I spoke to my colleague, Om Yamasuk from ESPN.
Yes.
Ohm says that's the worst half of shooting that Curry tied tonight by going 0 of 8 in the second half and 0 of 4 from distance.
And again, that's a fact that you're getting right here on Golden Days. Ohm has taken over essentially as the primary beat reporter for ESPN covering the Golden State Warriors. What happened to Kendra Andrews, by the way? Do you know?
She is now focused on women's basketball at the pro and collegiate level.
Oh, there you go. So again, Ohms has taken over, and as he reported, courtesy of ESPN, that Stephen Curry tied his mark. Now, did he tie the mark for overall field goal attempts? Because he was 0 of 8 in the second half from the field, 0 of 4 from deep. Were both those numbers tying the mark? Do you know?
I'm not sure about both. I think the 0 of 8 is what he told me. 0 of 8 is his worst ever mark and a half. Ties his worst ever mark and a half.
Oof. And the Buddy Hield part of it, I want to give Carson Taylor dropped the $1.99 tonight, saying there is a reason that the Philadelphia 76ers phased him out of the rotation last year after trading for him. Buddy Hield, man, started this game 0 of 4 from deep. He had some minor contributions late in the game when it was pretty much already over. But what did you see out there, man? What was your take on tonight's loss?
I mean, it was bad. Like I said, I mean, it's just like Curry just couldn't make anything in the second half, and then just like it seemed like everybody sort of kind of stands around and sees what he's going to do. And
right.
Even though, we talked about Quentin Post in the great game he had last time against Chicago. Now this game, he came down to earth a little bit, although he himself a couple times passed the ball when he probably should have taken a shot. There was one play in particular I think he made a last-second pass, and then the Warriors ended up having a shot clock violation. And listening to the radio as I do, Tom Tolbert mentioned on the broadcast, hey, if you're open, take the shot because you're already spread the floor out, being a big out there, right? So take the shot, But in some cases, maybe he's still a young guy, obviously, so he's probably trying to defer to other people on the floor. But I mean, when he's the guy who's shooting 3 of 7 and 2 of 5 from deep, his accuracy is pretty good, so he should trust more in what he's doing.
I agree. Damien LaRoche, congratulations, by the way. A Golden Dazer for 5 months now. I think, Damien, you were the first or second Golden Dazer, and that reflects just how long we've been broadcasting. We're still very new here, folks, which is why I love the fact that I'm very excited about what's to come, man. We're building something special here. And Ryan, by the way, you're building something special with Bay Area Sports Wrap. But Damien LaRoche, congratulations first and foremost for the 5-month anniversary of being a Golden Dazer. That link is also available in our YouTube descriptions. $2.99 gives you exclusive access 12 to 24 hours before everyone else for our big interviews. The Mark Jones interview the other day being an example, and maybe more importantly for our live shows, you are highlighted. You stick out more than the non-Golden Dazers. So if you want to get your chats highlighted for moments like these, it's $2.99, $2.99 a month. Damien LaRoche asking, why does Kevon Looney get minutes against the Lakers? And I do not think he had a good game tonight. He cannot defend Anthony Davis. Kevon Looney finished this game in 10 minutes, 25 seconds of action with zeros across the board. Had 2
and a -10 and a -10 net rating.
And a -10 net rating. Had 1 steal. So Kevon Looney tonight, a grand total of 0 points, 0 assists, 2 rebounds, and committed 2 fouls. Why do you think, Ryan Leong, Kevon Looney still gets minutes at this stage of the season and of his career?
I think only because other guys are injured. I mean,
but then let me ask you this. Why do you think Guy Santos did not play at all in the fourth quarter?
I couldn't answer that for you. I think, again, it gets back to favoritism, and Steve Kerr just likes to play veterans. I don't know what it is.
Unless it's Brandon Podziemski.
He's true. He's not really an old veteran, but he's still not a rookie, right? So
I guess. I guess. I mean, he was getting a lot of minutes last year as a rookie as well. But the Podziemski part of it just makes no damn sense.
Well, maybe does Podziemski's game remind him of his game? Maybe.
I don't know. I wish someone asked Steve Kerr that. You had a chance. Are we going to play the whole thing? By the way, do you want to play a part of it? Like, what do you recommend?
Part of it, whatever you want. I mean, hey, I'm lucky enough to get one of these, which is a wristband for getting in the locker room. Talking about my LeBron James post game.
Well, exactly, yeah. So you had a chance, and I teased this to the audience. You actually, because again, you are what is it, P1? Is that what they call that? The
Tier 1. Tier 1.
So you have exclusive access where you can go into the locker room, and you posted this on your Twitter account. Again, people can follow you. Let me get your banner here as well, so people can. Apologies for that. Let's get this up. Where is it? Here we go. So this is on your Twitter account. We'll play at least a part of it because I looked at the length, and you interviewed LeBron for over 4 minutes, 4 minutes 47 seconds. Is this all you, or were you part of the scrum?
Part of the scrum, of course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but only so many of us had the wristband.
Well, what part of this did you ask questions yourself?
I did. I asked him one question. I got to find. If you want to wait, I can find out where it is. I did ask him how they were able to keep Curry going 0 of 8 in the second half. If you want to look for that too, or you can talk for a minute. Let me see if I can find it, and then we can use.
Do me a favor and find that real fast, and mute yourself if that helps.
Yes,
we will. That's the part we will play because that's perfect because I don't want to play the whole thing. LeBron James does not deserve that much attention on this show, but. All right, so we will play this in just a second. We have the great Rich Mitchin in the chat saying trade Kuminga. Why not? What the hell? Trade everybody. Trade Steph. Trade Draymond. Trade them all. Trade Quentin Post. Trade Guy Santos. What good is having him on your team if you're not going to play him? Trade them all. God damn it. That's what I say. Just the hell with it. Let's trade for Chris Chiozza and bring Chiozza back on the program or on the team. He was a member of the championship. People forget that. Two-way player Chris Chiozza, a national champion at Florida, I believe, and a world champion with the Golden State Warriors. Bring Chiozza back. Let's bring Brad Wanamaker back. I love it. Let's bring Anthony Lamb back. Let's trade Stephen Curry to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Ty Jerome. If we're gonna go nonsensical here, let's just go nuts. Let's just go ape shit crazy and just blow the whole thing up while we're at it. I mean, it makes more sense than what we're seeing now. Did you find the clip?
Yeah, go to the 2-minute mark.
Okay, so 2-minute mark. This is Ryan Leong interviewing LeBron James in the locker room, asking one of the all-time greats how the hell they were able to hold Stephen Curry to 0 points in the second half of this game. Here is Ryan Leong. You're with LeBron James. Here we go.
He's supposed to do, and the rest of the guys do what they're supposed to do. We'll put ourselves in position to win, and that's what we have to do every single night. We have to execute our game plan.
What were you guys able to do defensively against Curry in the second half? He went 0 for 8.
I'm sorry, just hope that he missed. Just hope that he missed. You put bodies in front of him, and you just hope that he missed.
LeBron never slipped play.
All right, bravo, dude.
Right? Hey, at least something, right? I mean, nobody else asked a question. They're asking other stuff, but hey, at least it was directed to him, and he actually acknowledged the fact that I was, asking him a question.
I tell people this just because being in person is different than TV. And one of the things that I noticed was very different seeing someone in person versus on TV was Draymond Green in person is a very intimidating human being in terms of just how built he is. The dude could probably rip my head off my torso if he wanted to. Very strong dude. Andre Iguodala was another person that I was kind of like wowed by in terms of a physical specimen and Adonis-like creature. What is LeBron James like up close and personal in a locker room?
Well, he's a big dude. He's a big guy. I mean, if you watch that, you can watch that video right there. I mean, of course, I did kind of edit the first few seconds because I kind of start from the below the waist up, and he is wearing a towel, but I figured that's not really necessary to show that part, so I did kind of edit that out.
No, it would not be appropriate.
No, not appropriate.
Thank you for doing that. You're not dual streaming tonight, are you?
No, I didn't have time. You got me too quick. It's all good. Doesn't matter.
Okay, all right. I just feel bad. I want you to get some benefit out of this. Well, Ryan, we've got 11 days. Yes. And we're going to start wrapping up the show here. We'll go through the scoreboard real fast because it was a jam-packed night in the NBA. I do love the fact that with the NFL wrapping up, we got the championship games tomorrow. Saturday is now, and it belongs to the NBA. You're going to be getting a full.
Well, you got it. Well, like tonight, right? Tonight you got an NBA
exactly. But I just love the fact that like early in the day. And side note, I will not mention names, but I can confirm with you that play-by-play broadcasters do in fact check text messages during broadcast and respond. And the reason why I bring that up is because I was watching the T-Wolves and the Nuggets this morning.
Okay.
Also broadcast live on ABC, and the great Mark Jones made an incredible. Dude, the guy he's a poet in terms of NBA broadcasting. And there was one play where where I can't remember who the players were involved. I think it was like Jared McLaughlin and Jamal Murray, and one of the players was like holding the other guy. He had his hand like holding the other guy back on a fast break, and it was clearly an offensive foul. And Mark Jones dropped the line about he was trying to prevent his rent money from being taken or something. It was some line that was so funny, dude. And I just texted it to him, and I was confirmed today that NBA play-by-play broadcasters do check their phones and text messages during a broadcast. That was pure comedy. But with that said, I don't even know why I brought that up. 11 days until the trade deadline, Ryan. 11 days until the Warriors decide whether or not they're going to let Steve Kerr just run this whole thing into the ground, which is what will happen if this team does not make a move. This season's over. This season is cooked. I would be shocked if somehow they find a way to redeem themselves and become contenders again this year if they don't make some sort of move. To me, it's even beyond like improving your roster. It's more so from my perspective of taking Kerr's crutches away. I don't think you can do that with Buddy Hield because no one in their right mind is going to trade for him in that contract. But you can do it a little bit with Looney. You can do it with a little bit with GP2, where if you trade those guys for pieces or individuals that are either far better or have no hope of seeing the court, you're going to force Steve Kerr's hand to play the right guys. Bob Myers was a genius on that level. In 2022, we saw it with Damian Lee and Juan Toscano Anderson, arguably the two worst players on that team, yet they kept getting minutes by Steve Kerr. But the good news is, despite being the two worst players, they were still serviceable. They were good enough to not penalize the Warriors with their minutes. That's not the case with this current roster. So 11 games to go. Do you think the Warriors are doing anything, man? Is this what we're going to see the rest of the year? Your thoughts, sir?
I really hope not. I mean, again, I can't confirm anything, but until they start playing better, then again, see, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because if they play better, then maybe the front office thinks we don't need to make a move. And then, of course, you had Curry about 2 or 3 weeks ago say, kind of basically tell the media to shut up, or not media, but just people in general to shut up, right?
I remember
like,
that.
Shut up, like basically telling fans to shut up and dribble, or just shut up and watch. Shut up and watch. So, but yeah, I'm starting to think they're at a point now, man, where they got to do something. And remember, I know you were really excited, as we should have been, when you saw Guy Santos and Quentin Post have a great game against the Bulls. But come on, it's the freaking Bulls, man. This is like the Bulls that were run by, what was that guy's name? Tim Floyd. Remember that when he was the coach of the Bulls?
Oh my God, he succeeded Phil. I remember that vividly. Yeah.
Well, the Bulls are kind of playing like that again, even though Billy Donovan's a much better coach. Okay, the Bulls have sucked for years now, man. They suck. Okay, so that's why I didn't get too excited when I saw the great game that Quentin Post had, just because it's the freaking Bulls. So, the Warriors though, they need to show something, because it is getting to the point where it's like, man, you need to push the panic button here, man. I don't know what these guys are going to do. I'm not in the front office. I'm not a player, obviously, but the team is really starting to fall apart. I mean, they started out so hot. And that's the reason why it's really kind of a mirage, because if you look at the Warriors' record, they're back to being a game under 500. But this team was 12-3 when the season started.
And they're 10-19 since.
There you go.
And the inaction is absurd, and the fact that this team is just it's just like you said. I don't think they're going to do anything, man. It would shock me if they did. I just wanted to see. Like, take one of the team and yell at Kerr for us. Yeah, right. Sorry, Ken, I can't do that. I might lose my credential. I like coming to games. The media, there are rules against that, just in case people aren't familiar.
You know what? I do want to make one point here real quick. The one point I want to make, and I love it when fans always get in and say, well, reporters ask stupid questions. I'll tell you what, smart fans, you guys come down here if you had the access and you ask those questions and see how long you last, because the PR stuff's going to come after you, and you're going to probably get your credential revoked. Okay? A lot of fans don't know that.
First of all, just to add some context here, if you're during a game, for example, like if your media is sitting in that media section, you can't cheer, you can't be involved as a fan, like you can't clap, like you can't be doing any of that stuff. You're supposed to be neutral, you're supposed to be an impartial observer, and then when it comes to the setting in the interview room where you're interviewing Kerr, you can ask him hard questions. Like there's no rule against that, but you can't be emotional about it, you can't be argumentative. Like there are definitely rules of decorum in that setting. But you can certainly ask him hard questions. We saw Danny Everman do that.
Egos. I mean, a little bit. Here's the thing. So let me answer this one guy's question. Gamer F2P. So if you watch a lot of these interviews, okay.
Well, read the question first. So the audience.
So the question is. So as a reporter, you have to stroke the coach's egos. Kind of, sort of, yeah. Because like the thing is this: unless somebody's really on the hot seat for doing something, it's kind of hard to like really put someone on the spot. Now, if something bad happens enough to where it's so obvious that it's like the pink elephant in the room, then yeah, people are going to ask that kind of a question, whether it's a scandal. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't think of a better example, but maybe it's because they're playing the Lakers. But when Kobe Bryant had his scandal years ago, it was so obvious that those were the natural questions people were going to ask him anytime they saw the guy, that he had to deal with a scandal when he was having that issue in Colorado. So those kinds of questions get asked, but normally, more often than not, you got to sort of think what you're going to ask these guys, and it has to be done in a manner where it seems like you're basically walking on eggshells.
Well, you have to be professional, right?
Of course, but you are walking on eggshells. Okay. The bottom line is, every time I go in there to ask a question, I pretend I'm on eggshells, because you do have to have that mentality, and if you don't, it could really backfire on you.
That's crazy, by the way. Like the media members should not feel like that in an interview setting. Okay.
I know
whatever. You're being realistic. You're bringing I'm just telling you what ideally that it should be, and then you're bringing the reality of the situation into play. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying, like media members should be allowed to, ask difficult questions, ask follow-up questions, and they do happen. But we've also seen, and again, I won't get into specifics about this tonight, but and this is part of the reason why I have developed a bit of a bias toward Kerr, because he can be vindictive. You and I have seen behind the scenes people lose their positions for crossing certain lines. So granted, these people were also employed by companies that were tied in directly to the Warriors. So Kerr has that power, but the point is he can be like that. And I think that does bring fear to a lot of individuals.
It's not just him. It's other sports too. All sports that you cover, if you ask questions that don't jibe with what the team thinks is being And they understand that you can ask questions, but they will like critique you for stuff like that.
You're right. It depends on the market too. This is why East Coast sports to me is awesome. Like in the East Coast,
yeah, you can't do that, right? You cannot muzzle. Like for instance, yeah, you're right. You cannot muzzle New York media and Boston and Philly. If you try, whatever, they're going to do what they want. And that's
but in San Francisco, I mean, it's so soft to begin with here.
No, you're absolutely right. Okay, hold on real quick. I wouldn't use the word soft, but it is.
I will.
Well, no, let me explain.
Okay.
It's soft only because the teams can dictate it. Okay, what we're both agreeing on here is they can't dictate how things go in New York, Boston, and Philly. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's fair. Julian Bashir, I don't know where Chardal is.
Hey, Dr. Bashir.
Yeah. But he's asking, is Chardal still waiting? Because at the very beginning of the show, Chardal was like, I want to come on. I haven't seen Chardal since, so I don't know what happened. I would not keep him waiting for an hour. And there's something else here in the chat.
G made a good point. G made a good point. Let's go back. Hold on. I like to read this chat. That's why 957 is a bunch of ridiculous homers. Okay, well, I'll say this. They're the rights holder, okay? So the rights holder means that they have a relationship with the Warriors to promote the Warriors. Now, this is why you'll notice they always talk about the Warriors no matter what. And a station like KNBR pretty much talks 49ers no matter what because they're the rights holders.
Yeah. And they have a partnership, yeah. Abraham D. Leong in the chat is asking, that explains why nobody criticizes Kerr harshly. But my pushback to that is if you're someone like, let's say, Sam Gordon of the Chronicle or Danny Emmerman of the Merc News, if you're with an organization that is supposed to be impartial, that has boundaries, right, between the team and the news organization, in theory, you should not be concerned about the difficulty of your questions. Sam Gordon, Anthony Slater's another one. Like Tim Kawakami's another one. Yeah. Myself, if I was there, like nobody's ever telling me or any of these guys, like, whoa, be careful with the questions you're asking. They're not in danger. And that's why sometimes I do wish those individuals, like they're not going to get blacklisted if they decide to ask a follow-up question or if they decide to ask Steve, like, why didn't Guy Santos play in the fourth quarter? And if he said, for example, I just felt my gut told me the matchups weren't there. And you could, in theory, follow up and say, well, can you actually logically present it? I mean, like what, like how was that a reasonable decision given Anthony Davis was eating you up alive and Guy Santos entering tonight's game was 9 of 11 from deep over the last two games? Like you can, in theory, do that. And that's why I personally sometimes criticize the media for letting Kerr off the hook too much. But you're also right in the sense that there are a lot of organizations. And if you're not someone with a lot of influence and power, the team will definitely be punitive.
But this is why a site like Deadspin, or at least the original version of Deadspin, was very popular because they didn't care about access, so they could rip freely. Because that's the thing. The one thing that always is hanging over someone's head is you are granted access. I am granted access to be here. Okay,
correct.
I'm not going to do something to jeopardize it.
No, you're right.
I have a couple of examples of people who have done it, and they've done it in ways where it didn't involve asking questions. Cyrus, I'll talk to you about this off the air. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And all I'm saying is if you work for an organization like, let's say, the San Francisco Chronicle, the Mercury News, the Athletic, you do have that leeway. Like, they're not going to ban you. But if you don't work for someone that prestigious, that credible, then you do, to a certain extent, need to worry about your ass with credentialing because I guess what I'm trying to say is the team will get away with what they can get away with. Absolutely. I don't think they can get away with taking credentials away from folks who represent these major news organizations.
Unless they do something really bad, like plagiarizing, which has happened before.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Jim Van Vliet, who was a guy, he was actually kind of like a, what do you call it? He was handicapped. He could walk with a walker, but I didn't know why this guy did this, but he actually covered some A's games, and he was using old quotes, and he got called out on it, and that was the end of his journalism career. That's embarrassing. But
who was the guy with the Chronicle who he was there for like 20 years and we never saw him again because he got busted for plagiarizing. What the hell was his name? You remember? Like, and he just vanished. Like,
well, I know. I can think of the guy Van Vliet, but I'm trying to think of the Chronicle who you're thinking of. I'd have to look it up.
If I remember the name, I'll bring it up. Anyways, the point is, I just learned like a few weeks ago that he became a vet tech, or he just left his journalism career after like 20 plus years. If someone in the chat can remember that name, bring it up. But anyways, and Young West 79 asking who brought up Hobbit Ball. That's right here. The guy with two thumbs pointed his direction that originated on this program. And it rings very true. Any final thoughts, Ryan? Oh, real fast. I'm sorry. Carson Taylor dropped the $1.99 in the chat saying, are asking, do you think RJ Barrett is available for Andrew Wiggins and a first? My answer to that is no, for a couple reasons. One is I think RJ Barrett's one of the only players on the Raptors roster. It's like him, Scotty Barnes, maybe one or two other players that the team actually likes and they don't want to trade. And secondly, Wiggins is apparently untouchable by the Warriors standards. So you don't expect Wiggins to be traded. And RJ Barrett, a player who's actually really evolved his game. Like, he was a high pick. Some people thought he got drafted too high originally, I believe, by the New York Knicks. But he's really evolved his game, man. Like, the player he was 5 years ago is not who he is now. I think he's much better, actually. But I don't think that's realistic. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on RJ Barrett and this idea of trading Wiggins for him?
I do not, unfortunately. Yeah, I haven't followed enough of RJ lately to give you an opinion on him.
And Kev F in the chat bringing up Chase Center, saying they need some new fans. I was thinking the exact same thing tonight.
Well, that's all based on money. So, you got money, you can come here. That's how that works.
What's disconcerting to me, following up on Kev's comment, is why are the fans not like they haven't been afraid to boo in the past? Like, why are they accepting this current iteration of Warriors basketball?
Because a lot of people that come here aren't diehard fans. It's like the Giants games. When the Giants first moved to Pac-Bell Park, man, people are having a good time. They're just coming here. Oh, I'm a social influencer. Oh, I got these great theater box seats, or I'm sitting on the floor.
Great.
I'm shooting a selfie.
Great.
They don't give a rat's freaking ass about what's going on in the game. They're not real fans, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Lewis said it right. Fake rich fans. That's what they are.
Let me see if I can't find that. But just to piggyback on that, because I love that sentiment you brought up with Pac-Bell Park, and then what is it called, Oracle now? Is it Oracle?
It's Oracle. Yeah.
You and I remember Candlestick. Like, those were the real fans, dude.
Yeah.
Like the 5,000 to 10,000 who showed up to that place, freezing cold nights. You're watching Matt Williams, Barry Bonds in their early days, Will Clark, Kevin Mitchell, Robbie Thompson, that whole crew.
Sure.
Those were fans. People who showed up there. And then you're right. The moment Pac-Bell opened, it turned into the trendy, cool thing to do for all the San Francisco elites. And Chase Center has that very similar vibe.
But even Oracle Arena was getting there. In the last few years, the Warriors were there. A lot of the fans got priced out, man. It got really expensive.
That's true. That is true. Any final thoughts on tonight's game before we go to the scoreboard and wrap up the show on this Saturday night, Ryan?
No, not really. I mean, again, I'm hoping I'll get more of an opportunity to talk to your audience though about why media asks the questions they ask, and people. Like I said, it's really easy to be an armchair quarterback. Okay, I mean, it's super easy to sit back at home and say, "Oh, this is a stupid question. Dude, that was a stupid question." I mean, like, dude,
well, they're not directing that at you. I mean, they're not telling you that.
I've had one or two directed at me as far as like me asking a question that ended up on a YouTube reel of reporter stupid questions. I'm in there.
Well, that's not then. Yeah, then I would respect you pushing back on that. Some people do ask lame questions. Look, ultimately, these are all generalizations. If you're criticizing the media as a whole, you're stereotyping. That's illogical. Focus on very specific individuals, specific moments, and focus on that. If a very specific reporter asked a bad question, call them out, man. Their job is to ask good questions, but also be prepared for pushback. Like, maybe your criticism is subjective, right? Like the person who criticized you, Ryan, chances are that criticism was based on their opinion. And who knows if that's right or wrong, right?
Well, again, it's just a lot easier. It's like I said, that's why I said armchair quarterback. It's very easy. That's why I call it armchair quarterback. It's very easy to criticize when you're sitting at home on your couch and you're not there in the room and people are looking at you and you're thinking to yourself, shit, I better ask the right question, because if I don't, it's gonna be hell for me. It's gonna be hell to pay, man. It's that simple.
Ben Binary in the chat asking, what are the chances that Kerr is tanking? I would say 0. Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, he's not tanking. I mean, obviously he's coaching the way he thinks is best, but that's why a lot of times, and I'm hoping he's not at that point yet, but at some point, coaches, everybody's got a shelf life. Okay. So, even the greatest coach of all time, I don't know, let's see, like someone like a Phil Jackson, for instance, right? I mean, everybody's time is up at some point. Okay. So right now, every coach that's still employed, I mean, you're hired to get fired. So Kerr right now is kind of teetering. He's kind of walking a little bit of a tightrope.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
I mean, a tightrope in the sense of trying to manage the team.
A tightrope, this that.
Yeah, but I don't think he's walking a tightrope in terms of job security for whatever reason.
Not yet. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, fire. Yeah, for Shanahan. Well, Shanahan definitely. Jason is definitely much more on the He's on the hot seat much more for sure. No question.
Well, yeah, he's number one. And then Kev F is right. Greg Popovich is another example of someone who is never on a hot seat. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Real quick, with Popovich,
yeah.
I do not like him. I'm be one of the first guys to say that. I think he's a bully. The thing that sucks is I share the same birthday with him. He's going to turn 70 whatever on Tuesday, and that's my birthday as well.
Wow. Well, happy early birthday. So, side note, Tuesday night, you're celebrating your birthday. You're not going to join us for the Warriors Jazz post game. That's a must win if there's ever been one for the Warriors, man.
Correct.
Maybe. And again, people have brought this concept, this idea before, and I've never shot it down because I get it. But I almost feel like Tuesday is one of those games where if the Warriors lose, you'd be getting a lot of positives from that. Because if they lose that game, man, you're lighting fires under that front office to take some goddamn action instead of more of the same, right? I don't know. Is that crazy talk? Do you follow what I'm trying to say here, Ryan?
A little bit, but I think it sounds a little bit far-fetched.
Well, let me rephrase it then, or maybe you just don't agree with it. But if the Warriors win Tuesday, it's a borderline meaningless win, other than the scoreboard and the standings, right? Because it's the Jazz, dude. They're a tanking team.
But if they lose, if they lose, it's like playing the Wizards, correct?
Exactly. If you lose. Then Steve Kerr suddenly under a lot of pressure to either make some serious changes.
I agree.
But I'm not sitting here wishing for it. But all I'm trying to say is if the Warriors lose Tuesday, it's not going to be the worst case scenario. Is what I'm trying to present. Miguel, by the way, wishing you a happy birthday.
Miguel. Yes. Yeah, I'll be 51.
And then you have Raymond M saying that is crazy talk, and maybe it is. But again, if they do lose Tuesday, the pressure will increase to do something is all I'm trying to say. Now moving on to the scoreboard, and that usually entails some musical elements, some musical aesthetic added to the program. It is Saturday night. Are you going to be celebrating your birthday early tonight, or are you saving all the celebrations for Tuesday?
I'll probably save it tomorrow and Tuesday. I'm actually going to Star Trek convention tomorrow. I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram. I went to the Star Trek convention yesterday.
Well, I missed that. I'm sorry, but I'm
a big Trek nerd. It's all good.
I love it. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. But I respect for the Trekkies as well. I love it. All right, well, have fun. My mom's birthday is Monday. Happy birthday, Mom.
There you go. Nice.
And then my dog Bubba's birthday is coming up too. He's turning 3. All right, so let's go around the rest of the NBA scoreboard. A lot of games on the docket tonight. We start with the Phoenix Suns, who have been toiling in that middle no man's land of the Western Conference with the Golden State Warriors. Well, this is how bad it's getting. The Phoenix Suns are starting to create some separation. They won tonight 119-109 at home against the Washington Wizards. Kevin Durant, 29 points. Kyle Kuzma lost 30 points, 11 rebounds. The Suns are now 2 games above 500, while the Warriors are now a game below 500. They're 23-21. The Wizards dropped to 6-38. Ryan, a lot of people talk about a lot of folks who call themselves a member of Dub Nation are getting sentimental. They're eating their member berries, and they're bringing up Jordan Poole a lot, wishing that the team never traded him in the first place, thinking that if Poole was a part of the team today, they would not be mired in this mediocrity that they're experiencing. My response to that is, don't forget how bad he was defensively. There's a reason why the Wizards are also 6-38. What's your message to the folks out there who miss Jordan Poole? I can't hear you. Is it because you're muted?
Yeah. You'll recall that, and you noticed that I did ask Kerr that question about what if with Jordan Poole, and he says, I don't have time to think about that, remember?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I am curious only because, but you're right, though. He was terrible defensively. I mean, he didn't provide any kind of defense.
Awful. It was a sieve.
Matador defense.
Yeah, there was no defense played ever. Well, not ever, but it was bad. Moving along, again, a lot of games tonight. The Memphis Grizzlies taking care of the Warriors' next opponent, the Utah Jazz, at home tonight, 125-103. Memphis improves to 31-15. Sorry about that. The font's really small for some reason. Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit here. All right, there we go. Now I lost my. Hold on. Okay, so the Grizzlies improved to 31-15. The Jazz fall to 10-33. Jaren Jackson Jr. Side note: if there is a player out there that fits the perfect mold of what the Warriors need, I feel like Jaren Jackson Jr. is it. He scored 28 points tonight. Walker Kessler, whose name has been mentioned in a lot of trade speculation, 11 points, 10 rebounds in the loss for the Jazz. And Ryan, jump in at any point if you have any opinions or takes on any of these games or players. The Philadelphia 76ers, talk about being mired in no man's land. I don't know what they are going to do for the rest of the season in terms of tanking or still, making a run at it. 109-97 winners tonight over the Chicago Bulls. They improved to 17-27. The Bulls, that home loss drops them to 19-27. Tyrese Maxey, 31 points, 9 assists in the win. Nikola Vucevic, who did not play well in that Warriors game, he responded tonight, 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks in the loss for the Chicago Bulls. Ryan, someone mentioned to me that Bill Simmons on his podcast brought up Bob Myers as a possibility for being the next Philadelphia 76ers GM. My response to that was, I don't see that happening. Myers, his family's in the Bay Area. He loves his current situation, which does not require the time commitment, which goes with being a front office leader. What are your thoughts on Myers being linked to the Sixers?
Yeah, whoever said that is, I don't know what they're smoking, but why would you give up a gig that he's got right now? I mean, unless you want to go back under the microscope. And a guy who did that for years was John Gruden. Remember that? John Gruden was a great ESPN guy. Well, then he accepts his 10-year contract with the Raiders. Coaches like shit, and then he's gone, right? But I guess he's got a lot of money now. But I don't see Myers. I think Myers right now is going to continue to be an analyst for at least another couple of years.
It was Bill Simmons who said that, which is why I think he got traction. That guy has some influence. Well, I didn't know this. Young West 79 in the chat saying that Hoppetball is being mentioned on a lot of different shows now. Yeah, we originated that. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that other shows were using that term. It started here. Ryan, are you hearing Hoppetball used in other shows?
I haven't heard that term. Describe it basically like Hobbit, like short people. You mean like really short,
really Warriors short baskall is Hobbitball because
because the Hobbit's really short. Yeah,
they're tiny, dude. They're and it's not just like the
eye test. Play. If you're gonna play us, you talk about Hobbitball. You should dig up that old song from Leonard Nimoy, the guy who played Mr. Spock.
Yes.
The Bilbo Baggins song. You know about that?
No.
I will look into it. Holy crap!
I don't know about it.
Before you end this podcast, I'll find it for you right now.
Done. Or find it and put in the
oh my God!
DM me if you think it's worthy of.
Of course it is.
Okay. Moving along in the scoreboard on the Saturday night, the Sacramento Kings got their asses kicked at Madison Square Garden tonight, 143-120. Josh Hart, 20 points, 18 rebounds, 11 assists, a triple-double for Josh Hart in the win. Domantas Sabonis, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists in the loss. I want to bring up one of our prime sponsors on this program, and that's Underdog Fantasy, because 2 of the players on my winning ticket tonight, I got 5 out of 7, so I didn't win much, but at least I didn't lose, and I consider that winning when you're gambling. I bet on OG Anunoby getting higher than a combined total of 6.5 rebounds and assists, and he finished with 7. He had 4 assists, 3 rebounds, so he scored for me. I also bet on Karl Anthony Towns scoring higher than, I think, 24.5 points. He did not hit that. He finished with 18 points on this night. But with the win for the Knicks, they improved to 30-16. The Kings dropped to 23-22, still ahead of the Golden State Warriors, however. The Houston Rockets and the Cleveland Cavaliers, that's a big game that happened today, and I missed that somehow. 135-131 winners. Houston beat Cleveland in Cleveland. The Cavaliers are reeling a little bit. Houston improves to 30-14. It's Amen Thompson who's on the Rockets, and then Osser is twin brothers, Detroit, I believe. So Amen Thompson, 23 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists. A triple-double for the second-year player, Darius Garland, 39 points, 9 assists. And one of many stories we've broken on this program here when it comes to the Warriors, I broke this story a year ago, and nobody ran with it, stupidly, but I'll bring it up again. Osser Thompson was a very coveted rookie, or at that point, I think he was Did he play college or was he a G League guy? I can't remember. But anyways, the Warriors were desperately trying to trade up in last year's draft to get Oscar Thompson. They really like him and wanted him. And now you're starting to see why these two brothers are that good. Have you watched either of them play? Any thoughts on them?
I haven't, unfortunately. I'm busy enough as it is, man. Believe me. Just keeping track of the teams that I'm trying to keep track of. Seriously, Cyrus, I'll say I defer to your NBA knowledge and wisdom, because I know you're able to spend a lot more time on the association than I am.
Correct. Well, I mean, but that's mainly because like you're covering all the sports, and the Warriors are like my sole focus. I've abandoned spending time on the other ones because I want to get it right. That's my goal here. Right. But yeah, but if that is true, what you say, and I appreciate that, man. That's very nice of you. That's the only reason. I'm just spending like way more time on basketball. Like for example, Championship Sunday used to mean the world to me, and now I'm going to spend it analyzing Warriors analytics just to see if that's something that everyone else is missing. But anyways, so Houston wins tonight. That was a big win for them. A few more games that went on tonight. The Toronto Raptors defeating the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta 117-94. Toronto improving to 13-32. The Hawks dropping to 22-23. Scotty Barnes, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists in the win. Okongwu for the Hawks, 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. The Orlando Magic had a front court duo coming through for him tonight in the form of Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. They each scored 32 points for the Orlando Magic in a 121-113 win over the Detroit Pistons. Orlando improves to 24-23. Detroit drops to 23-22. Cade Cunningham, 35 points, 11 assists in the loss for Detroit, as Orlando is finally getting healthy again, and they stave off falling below 500, unlike the Golden State Warriors. 3 more games. The Charlotte Hornets defeated the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. That did not sound like an interesting game at all. Charlotte improves to 12-30. New Orleans drops to 12-34. Got that right? Yeah. LaMelo Ball, 25 points, 7 assists, 3 steals in the win. Zion Williamson, 28 points, 11 rebounds in the loss. Ryan, what would you, because a few people have brought this up, would you trade Andrew Wiggins, GP2, and Kevon Looney for Zion Williamson?
No, because he gets injured too much.
I love it. 2 more games, and we'll get the hell out of here.
He hurt a lot.
What's up?
He gets hurt a lot, don't you think?
He does get hurt a lot. But you know, one of the biggest reasons why I would be curious to see how that looks, and why, despite the injury concern, I'd still sign off on it, is because, and maybe I'm being delusional, but Rick Celebrini, the head of all medical practice for the Golden State Warriors, the magic he pulled with Otto Porter Jr. in 2022 made a difference in terms of a championship. I know he's not a literal wizard, but what he did with OPJ and a few others makes me believe maybe he can keep Zion healthy. But at the same time, the best doctor in the world cannot keep someone away from in and out if they're craving a 3x3 coupled with an hour later hitting up the buffet at the strip club down the street. I mean, look, a doctor cannot prevent that, and that seems to be Zion's biggest issue. Ryan, if Zion did get traded to the Warriors, what would be his favorite strip club in San Francisco? The Gold Club?
Yeah, there aren't many left. You know, Mitchell Brothers is gone. He's not going to go to the New Century, because the New Century is like at the heart of the loin. So you're basically, your only option is go to. Yeah, I think you have 2 options. You either go to Gold Club, or you go to like that Centerfold's place that's on Broadway.
On Broadway, exactly. Wow.
I think he's going to be tremendously disappointed. I'm imagining there's a lot better gentlemen's clubs in New Orleans than there are here in the Bay Area.
Oh, New Orleans was one of the worst cities for him to go to, with the food, the debauchery.
That's one of the best cities for him to go to as far as the debauchery. Are you kidding?
Yeah, Young West in the chat saying too much gumbo in New Orleans for Zion. Too much gumbo, too many beignets. Yeah, there's too much grease.
Too many beignets. Oh, man. Banana
Ryan, what are your thoughts on Miguel's comment in the chat real fast? He says if Stephen Curry goes to the front office and says, get rid of Steve Kerr and make some trades or I'm gone, they will do it. But Curry is also lacking a spine in that department. I don't know if he's lacking a spine. I'm not going to go that far. It's just not his game.
No, that's not Curry. He wouldn't do that.
It's not a style.
I don't see that.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. All right. So
you know who would do that? Jimmy Butler would do something like that.
Oh, Jimmy! It's shocking to me Jimmy Butler's still with the Heat. And speaking of the Heat, 2 more games as we wrap it up here. Miami won tonight while Jimmy Butler served, I believe, the second game of yet another suspension.
Another one?
Yeah, he got another one. Yes, he missed another team flight. He is in. I don't give a.
This is why the Warriors don't want this guy. You don't want this guy. You don't want him.
He does. You know what's even crazier? You want to say what's even crazier about Jimmy Butler is he literally told the Miami Heat, "I'm cool with you trading me to any team except for the Memphis Grizzlies." Andre Iguodala a few years ago had the same sentiments. Look, I know Memphis is not everyone's cup of tea, but I didn't know it was like that looked down upon by NBA players.
Wait,
like, what's your reaction to Memphis being this?
But Memphis is a good team, aren't they?
Exactly. That's what's really weird about it. But I think it's the city. For whatever reason, Jimmy Butler and again Andre Iguodala felt similar. Like they don't. Memphis is a tricky spot, dude. You're partly in like Mississippi, pretty much. Like you got Arkansas, right? I mean, it's a deep South scene, dude. So I don't know if that's why.
You know what? This is word to the wise. It's too bad the league didn't want to stick it out in Vancouver. Because that's why they were called the Vancouver Grizzlies. And they moved to Memphis. So
what is your take, by the way, on NBA teams who bring their nicknames with them to other cities? Like we've been seeing this for decades, right? I mean, the Minneapolis Lakers, I think, are the original ones, right? I mean, the Lakers
and then
apropos from Minnesota.
The Jazz.
The Jazz are probably the most egregious.
Well, the
one,
Warriors
right?
too. I mean, the Warriors came from Philadelphia, but Warriors is a moniker that is kind of universal, right?
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Warriors. Of course, they don't acknowledge anymore that they're part of a Native American heritage because that's where it came from. Okay,
and then like the Kings are another one, right? Were they like the Rochester Kings originally?
No. They were the Royals. And you know why they changed their name, don't you?
I don't. Enlighten me.
Because when they came to Kansas City, they already had a baseball team called the Royals.
Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for that. So,
useless knowledge for you. There you go.
So, but the Vancouver Grizzlies, and then there are no Grizzlies in Tennessee. I like that to me is a little much.
Right.
Change your goddamn nicknames.
Damn it, change your name. Yeah,
change your names. Like that. The Utah Jazz is to me still the worst one. Like here's what would make sense. I think make a trade where you send the Jazz name back to New Orleans because Pelicans is another weird one. I mean, I don't hate that one, but they should be called the New Orleans Jazz, and then let the Utah team have the Saints. I mean, let New Orleans keep that. That's fine. But let you have the Saints. They should be called the Saints, don't you think? I mean, wouldn't that be the apropos name for a team in Utah? Is there a better name?
The Mormons?
That you could think of?
The Mormons?
I know, yeah, but that you can't.
Utah Mormons?
That's what they say. I thought the Saints, because like
or the missions. How about call them like the
missions,
right? Because they always have the people that are Mormons always go on these missionary. Right? They're always these missionary people.
Raymond in the chat saying, "Call them the Memphis Gangs."
Memphis Gangs.
All right, and one final game as we wrap it up on this Saturday night. Where is it? Well, I lost my scoreboard. Here it is. And this was also nationally televised today. Did I mention, by the way, the Miami Heat defeated the Brooklyn Nets 106-87. Tyler Hero, another player on my underdog docket who nailed the selection. I bet higher than 23.5 points. Tyler Hero scored 25, added 8 assists. D'Angelo Russell, relatively new Brooklyn Net, scored 22.6 assists. This game, I had a few selections of this one. Ryan, are you familiar with Underdog? Do you understand the premise?
No, tell me.
It's all about it's called daily fantasy sports. It's legal here in California, which is why I'm super giddy about it. So there's no guilt. You can use your bank for deposits and withdrawals. And the premise is selecting players, not teams, and then going higher than or lower than with certain numbers. So, for example, in this Miami Brooklyn game, I had 3 picks in this one, right? I picked that Tyler Hero would score higher than 23.5 points, and he got 25, so I got that right. I also bet that Zaire Williams, former Stanford player, would get less than 17.5 points, rebounds, assists combined. I was like, he's not doing anything. And Zaire Williams, side note, and finished this game 1 point, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. So that I nailed easily. And then my third bet was Ben Simmons, and that he would score lower than, I think, 8 points. And he didn't even play. So the point is, Underdog is fun, dude. If you follow hoops like I do and you're a junkie, and I'm starting to figure it out in terms of getting winning tickets. It's a good time. It's fun. And last but not least,
take your word for it.
Thank you. Last but not least, the Boston Celtics. This game was nationally televised, defeating Klay Thompson's Dallas Mavericks 122-107. Jaylen Brown, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Daniel Gafford, 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 blocks in the loss. Klay Thompson, for all the talk about a couple months ago about how he's lighting it up for the Dallas Mavericks. In tonight's game, can you guess how many points he had, Ryan?
I'm looking at it, so I won't guess. But I was going to say this as well. He's lighting up that contract, that's for sure. I'm sure the Dallas Mavericks are pissed right now because basically they basically are burning money by having signed that ridiculous contract.
Yeah, I don't know if the Warriors would be much better if he had stayed, but Klay Thompson.
No, he wouldn't have been. In fact, the Warriors, I think, gave him a very generous offer. Right? Was it 2 years, 45?
They 50. Oh no! I think you're right. No, I think you're right. Actually, yeah.
He took 2
because he got 50 with.
Right, in a third year.
So Klay Thompson in this game tonight, 6 points, in a game where they desperately needed his services, given Luka Doncic is still out with that calf strain. So 6 points on the night for Klay Thompson. Those 6 points coming courtesy of 2 3-pointers made. And when you look at his season stats, 13.6 points per game, a career low. And his shooting numbers, he's shooting 38% even from 3. I believe that's also a career low. So no regrets, I think, is the point I'm trying to make in regards to Klay Thompson moving out. And Miguel in the chat adding that Klay is not even closing games for the Dallas Mavericks.
Look at his numbers. Those are terrible numbers. Let's just go over it real quick in the box score. Right, I just saw it here a second ago. Yeah, so 26 minutes and 22 seconds. He's 2 of 4 shooting, 2 of 3 from distance. 3 rebounds, 1 block, 1 turnover, 6 points, and -4 net rating. Awful numbers, and those are like numbers you should get from a bench player. I'm sorry. No, let me correct that. A bench player in garbage time.
All right, so you sent me this link, by the way, of the Leonard Nimoy's Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. Yeah. My only concern with playing this is, will YouTube penalize me? Will this be a violation of copyright if I played it?
I don't know. Or just leave it up there for your audience to look at it sometime on their own time.
All right, that's fair. So
do that. Just have them watch it later. Just put the here. I'll copy it on social media.
I'll put it on. I'll tweet it.
Yeah,
I'll put it on my Threads account.
There you go. And I'll put it in the comments right now too for those that want to just check it out.
There you go. If you follow me on Threads, it's @DogWild. If you follow me on Twitter, it's @SurfJournalist. I'll post that there. Follow Ryan Leong on Twitter @RyanLeong, where you can see his question of that he asked of LeBron James. That was very awesome, brother. Nice work there. And last but not least, the NBA standings. So the Warriors lose again. And they fall a game
below
500. What that means in the standings now.
I'll do the standings real quick here. I'll go there with you. Give me a second.
The Warriors. Well, I already have it, but yeah, join along regardless. The Warriors are if the season ended today, they would be out of the play-in. They're currently 11th in the Western Conference with a 22-23 record. They're a game behind the Sacramento Kings, who are currently 10th. Here, I'll zoom in here so I can do a visual here for the YouTube audience. And again, I'll articulate this the best I can for the podcast audience. But yeah, it's not looking good. Again, the season's not over. That's why the fact that the Warriors are not making moves is so frustrating, is because with each day that passes, it's your odds are getting stacked against you in terms of flipping the season around. And here are the standings right now of courtesy of ESPN. The Warriors, again, a game behind the Sacramento Kings, who are 23-22. The Dallas Mavericks have dropped all the way down to 9th because of all their injuries, primarily. The Warriors trail them and the Phoenix Suns by a game and a half. They trail the Minnesota Timberwolves by 2 games. Minnesota's in the 7th spot, and then the Clippers are your 6th seed, and the Warriors trail them by 3.5 games. And with this loss, they now trail the Lakers by 4 games. They now trail the Dallas Mavericks by 6. So the gap is starting to widen. And with each day that they don't make a trade or make some sort of move to improve this team, you're just waving a flag, man. This is excruciating. I do not get the inaction, the inactivity. Like a 2030, the Phoenix Suns showed you can flip a 2031 first-round pick and turn that into 3 first-round picks, and then you could get a Cam Johnson. You could get somebody legitimate out there without having to give up Wiggins. It's absurd. It is just maddening. I don't know how else to describe it. But if you're frustrated, I feel you, man. I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this, you're watching me, you could sense the frustration. I'm not hiding this. So that's where we are. Any final thoughts, Ryan?
Nah, I think I'm done. I think we espoused enough on the Warriors tonight.
I'm tapped out too. Well, Ryan, since you won't be joining us Tuesday, happy early birthday.
Thank you. I'll be back Wednesday. It's back to back. You only missing me one night. I'm back the next night.
I love it. So we'll miss you for one night. You'll be back with us on Wednesday. We'll be back on Monday. It's V for Valkyrie. Sophia Jones is going to join us. But until then, NFC Championship tomorrow, AFC Championship tomorrow. Any thoughts on that? Do you have any football thoughts?
Here. I'm going with Buffalo.
Is that the spot?
Nice. That's it. You got it. You did it right too. I'm going with Buffalo, and I'm going with Washington. Hopefully. It'd be nice.
You think? Wow. So you think Washington will pull the rookie QBs?
I'd like to see them win. No, I think Saquon Barkley's going to go for 150 yards.
Oh, so you think Philly's going to win?
Yes, but I'd like to see Washington upset them.
Gotcha. But okay, and then you think Buffalo's going to pull the upset?
A better team for sure. The only thing I'm worried about with them, obviously, is they're playing in KC, and the refs are on KC's side.
Well, and they have Patrick Mahomes, who never loses unless it's a Tom Brady game.
Because the refs are on his side. Oh, speaking of which, real quick. Who's got the funnier voice or the funny voices of sports athletes, right? Patrick Mahomes, Anthony Davis, Daniel Marshall. They all have the froggy voice. Who's got the biggest froggy voice?
Daniel Marshall. Look at you pull that. I don't know who has who. I give up. I don't know who.
I'm saying of the three. Who do you think has the froggiest voice? Maybe Patrick Mahomes?
I guess. I haven't heard Daniel Marshall talk in like 20 years. So I
real froggy voice, man. I'll tell you. And then Anthony Davis is pretty good too, but his is a little more muted. Those are the things I think about when I talk to athletes. I'm like, who's got the funny voice?
Well, folks, whatever you're doing on your Sunday, have fun. It is a championship Sunday, so enjoy that. I'm getting tired of this Warriors basketball, though. I'm tired of these shows coming in here, like just this is exhausting, man. This is not even fun anymore. Like, it's Jesus Christ. So the good news is the Warriors next game Tuesday. I'm looking at my phone right now because my schedule, the Warriors schedule is on my wallpaper.
You get a little bit of a break. You need a little bit of a respite, my friend. You get a break from
So the Warriors are off tomorrow. They're off Monday. Again, we'll have V for Valkyrie with Sophia Jones on Monday. And then the Warriors are back at it Tuesday, hosting the Utah Jazz. Then the very next night, you're going to be joining us for an awesome matchup.
Yeah.
It's Warriors
OKC, right?
and Thunder that Wednesday. And then the Warriors finish up the month on Friday, January 31st, a very big game against the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. I'll be there for that.
I believe you. Yeah. So, and then the All-Star game will be on February 16th. Okay. And you're going to that. I'm going to hopefully go to that.
I'm going to it. I put in for it. I hope I get in.
Same. That's exactly where I'm at too. Let's hope we get approved. I'm primarily going just to network, man. I feel like these are fantastic networking opportunities. So if you see like some big guests coming on this show in like March, April, it'll be because of that trip to the All-Star game. That's what I gain out of it.
I'll look forward to seeing you, man. We'll get some good photos for sure and some stuff for sure.
Yeah, there you go. So
great.
Damian LaRouche in the chat bringing up a video game I love. Star Wars Hunters, man. That is a fun game on your mobile devices. I'm getting tired. I've been playing Grand Theft Auto, Ryan, on my phone for I think 6 months straight. Like every free moment I have, I'm just playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I played the game 20 years ago and forgot it completely. So it's like brand new for me, man. And GTA is just as good as it was. It's phenomenal stuff, man. A great excuse. But Damian LaRouche, thank you for that. Star Wars Hunters is an awesome game. Let's link up there. Otherwise, I guess that's it. Any final thoughts? Anything we've forgotten?
Nope.
Happy birthday, Ryan. Have a good one.
All right.
And thank you, brother, for everything you do. Your contributions here are not taken for granted, man. I promise you that, dude. Thank you. Congrats on the LeBron question. That was big. Thanks to everyone. Despite the loss, thank you. Can't thank you enough. We'll be back at this Monday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.